Hello, everyone. I'm Sean Finnegan here with Destin Legary.
Hi, Sean.
How's it going, man?
We play a little bit of Destiny. It's going great.
We do indeed. Now, Bungie released this really interesting Taken King video documentary that we're taking a look at right now. Tell me a little bit about it.
So, well, this is for the Taken King, the new DLC. We're looking at Oryx here on the screen right now.
Yes,
and,
the main new villain of this expansion / DLC.
Yep, exactly. And he is actually the boss, I guess, that you're going to encounter, or at least we believe he is. The Taken King will be coming to both platforms, of course, Xbox and PlayStation.
September
PS3,
15th,
PS4,
right?
September 15th.
Yeah.
And when that happens, all the PlayStation 4 exclusives are going to come to Xbox now. So, not the stuff with Taken King. The Taken King will start a new year of exclusives on PlayStation versus Xbox. But Xbox is going to get like Hawkmoon and all those really cool exotics that you guys haven't had access to before.
As an Xbox player, I'm very excited about that because I hear Hawkmoon's great.
Yeah, definitely. It is, because I have one.
So here we're seeing a little bit of the new, or a little bit of a setup for the story.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about like what we're looking at in terms of these little portals and these enemies that we're seeing.
Okay, well let's head back to the beginning first of all. So this right here, this is Oryx's Dreadnought. Oryx is the father of Crota, who you kill in the Dark Below DLC, and he's not happy. So he is sending all these new sort of enemy types. These sad-looking knights are not the new enemies. I think what happened here is they have to go tell Oryx that, hey, Crota's dead.
Right.
We messed up. So they're going to tell him that, and he is not happy about his son's death, as he should be. He should be unhappy, is what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he looks unhappy. I mean, look at this guy, right?
Yeah, he's brooding. He's like ready to mess somebody up for, you know, hurting his son. So we're gonna actually kind of fast forward here. There's Crota, and we hear him kind of talking about why he's angry. This cutscene that we're looking at here, it features a new ship that we haven't seen before.
Yes.
The ship looks pretty boss.
It does.
Yeah. And we do know that cutscenes are going to be skippable, so you won't have to watch this every single time. Which
Big
is
deal
nice.
for Destiny.
Yeah, big deal for Destiny. A lot of people don't like
Skippable
watching
cutscenes
the
are
cutscenes
kind of
every
key to
time.
success when you're playing the game over and over again like this.
Yeah, definitely. Here's some of the new armor and weapon sets.
Yeah, we're looking at a Titan here in the front.
Yeah,
Hunter in the far back.
Yeah, so we have
right.
some new primaries, it looks like. These don't look like secondary weapons. And that's a Warlock on the right, you're right. Titan in the middle, Hunter on the left.
And these do appear to be new weapons, right? Like that is the auto rifle that this Titan appears to be holding is kind of reminiscent of Suros Regime, but it's not Suros Regime.
Yeah, definitely.
Could we see a new iteration of it? Maybe a Suros Regime Part 2.
Maybe. I'm not really sure.
Version 2.0.
It looks awesome, though. I really like the aesthetic design of it. And also in the background here, we see a bunch of dead Cabal, and that's because they're actually running away from whatever is happening over this ledge.
Right, the video documentary kind of specifies that this is a story moment where you kind of go to investigate something going on and find a bunch of the enemies that you're so used to fighting fleeing a new enemy, and we assume that this is Oryx or Oryx's minions kind of taking over.
Yeah, definitely. Oryx is not happy, so he is kind of messing with everybody. And so here's a shot of one of the Cabal trying to get away. And I like the ship kind of flying in. Now, you see what's on the back of this Hunter here. That looks really cool. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I like it.
It looks vaguely like pulse rifle-ish because of the charging mechanism on the bottom. Yeah, but
right?
it is way big. It
Yeah.
looks like a pulse shotgun of some sort.
Maybe. They did kind of toy with that a little bit with House of Wolves, you know, where weapons acted differently than they normally do.
Right.
And I really, really enjoyed that about that DLC. So if we move forward to the Cabal here, they're actually getting out of there. And Urk here is talking about it a little bit. And we see they're being like absorbed by some unknown power, and that's Oryx.
Now we do know this. The only thing that we know is that this sort of power that Oryx is using to control them is what brands them the Taken, and it actually changes the aesthetic of their models and their color scheme, which makes them, and they mentioned in the video documentary, a little bit more ominous, familiar in a way, but different, far different than anything we've ever seen in the universe.
Yeah,
before.
they actually say a little bit later that they're trying to make them even more alien-like.
Yes.
You know, so just like they kind of twitch when they move, and they act differently. They have different powers.
Yeah, and you'll see them right here. They're a mix of black and white, but almost like ethereal in a way. Like they're definitely not just black and white, but they're almost like film negative. If you were to take that as a look.
Yeah, and their powers also change a little bit. Like here's some Cabal with shields. They're pretty standard, but if we move forward just a little bit, we're going to start seeing enemies like that split into multiple enemies, like right there. So that's a new ability that we're seeing for the first time, and you could see how that could like cause you to be overwhelmed.
Oh, absolutely. Destiny's one of those games where just the regular sort of flow of combat can become overwhelming at times, and they do mention later on that the appearance of these new enemies can actually just turn the tide of battle and really make it that much more difficult when you're in the heat of it.
There's a look at the new Hydra in the background. He looks deadly also. And then if we go forward to 34 seconds, we got this new boss, Sirach, Word of Oryx. We actually played against him in the single-player portion of the game that we played today. He's no joke. You get a little bit of a buff when you encounter him, at least in the demo. And after that, like, he keeps throwing these enemies at you, and he's really difficult. He's throwing grenades right now that will just cook you, basically.
Right.
So, yeah, that's not great. You don't want to stay in that. Yeah, so then we see, like, it looks like a shield ability from... So these are, like, new versions of Knights, but this looks like a Fallen to me. And he's popping almost like a Titan bubble.
Yeah, it's actually quite a bit bigger than the shields that we're used to seeing from Knights and other sort of Hive.
Orcs drops his troops in there.
Yeah, agreed. And then we get, a few more looks at the enemies, the Titan, doing a Titan smash. Now the Warlock and Titan and Hunter here are using their old powers, but in a little bit we're going to see the new abilities. I love this shot.
This is a beautiful shot.
Yeah, you were talking about film or what you're saying?
Film negative.
Film negative, yeah. And it kind of keeps that aesthetic.
Yeah, for sure. Which is actually something I really like moving into the Taken King. Is Destiny's always been a beautiful game, but we're really seeing sort of Bungie flex their muscles when it comes to the art of this stuff. Like, look at the skybox behind him, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. It looks absolutely
you just don't really
beautiful.
see a lot of games doing things to this level of detail, and I can't wait to get my hands on it today as well.
Even the design of this character is totally different. That's not like a big version of a knight, which a lot of the enemies have kind of looked like in the past. It's kind of nice to see that they're putting a lot more effort into character design and making him look, like they said before, alien and just cool.
Although it would have been cool if he was just a giant shank.
No, I don't know about that. Yeah, we will see a giant shank a little bit later, actually. There's Luke Smith having a good time talking about the game. He's very excited. We interviewed him, and he was very happy to finally, reveal this gameplay for the first time.
I'm sure all of them are, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I noticed that they're tethered together here, and that's kind of interesting. I'm not really sure what's happening here. Maybe a buff. Maybe there's like a more powerful enemy that's
yeah, so this
them.
Could be a couple of things. We've seen sort of support enemies before, like granting shields to nearby enemies. That could be what this is. I actually think it's a little bit more of a shared life mechanism where you either have to DPS both of them down at the same time in order to kill them, because or like if not, one will keep funneling life to the other. We've seen that mechanism in other games before, and it's actually really intense, and it makes you approach the combat differently, and I think that could be like this. Yeah. I think this might be what it is.
That's cool. That'd be a neat new gameplay mechanic. We got a look here at the wizard, who actually spawns like a... Well, later we'll see the wizard spawns like... I don't know, like a shadow figure that you'll have to fight, and that's kind of terrifying. So here we got to look at the ogre-like infected. God, just like just the change in design makes these characters look even more ominous.
Right. And we're seeing basically every type of enemy that we fought before in the game as part of Oryx's Taken army, but with all new brand new abilities and sort of more alien-like features. Like this little teleporting mechanism is, I don't know, surreal in a way.
Yeah, there we go. I was talking about the shadow figure he spawns, and there's one there. That's not going to be fun to fight.
It looks fake,
beautiful,
thrallish. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it is a thrall.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
this is a beautiful shot. It looks like it's outside of his ship or
yeah, they
location.
do. Bungie does mention later on in the video documentary that a big part of this is exploring and kind of figuring out where Oryx is inside this massive like floating fortress that he has.
Yeah, the
and
Dreadnought.
This is what we're looking
they
at
just
here.
actually
Yeah,
said the Dreadnought, and it's millions of years old.
Yeah.
And there's just tons of stuff there.
And you're gonna have to explore it, and you're gonna have to track him.
Now this shot right here, there was actually a piece of concept art way back when Destiny launched, and this shot is like the room that we saw in that concept art. So it's cool to see that they're finally getting around to implementing these areas that we haven't seen before in the game. So I'm very excited to play through this now that we've kind of gotten a taste.
absolutely.
And even like the bug up here flying around, like, you know, all those little touches add a lot to the atmosphere.
Evil mausoleum. There are puzzles that at first.
This is they mention right here that there always has been, I guess you would call it light platforming elements to the raids and other content in Destiny, but here they mention specifically that there are puzzles and sort of things that that are not readily apparent to the player as they enter this Dreadnought that you kind of have to figure out. And here we see someone jumping to a platform that's not quite there, like a little bit of a leap of faith.
Yeah.
I do hope that we see a little bit more of these puzzling elements. That was one of the really cool things that I would love from raids, as opposed to just like tough mechanics and encounters as far as the bosses go.
Yeah, totally agree. Like, I think we'll see that in the raids again. We'll see a little glimpse of the raids later, but this is a story portion, I think. And I wanted to point out really quick that the character here on the far right, he has a new looking pistol. It has like an electrical charge in the middle or something. And I think that's a different weapon on his back that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting.
You might not even understand.
They've got prisons, summoning pits, they've got ceremony. And
Yeah, that's neat. Like, how are you going to get across that gap if you have to at all?
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's just where you spawn and we're looking at it from a different angle.
This giant floating fortress.
Yeah, there's a good look at the Dreadnought and all the Hive ship that you see teleport into Earth or Cosmodrome all the time.
I actually like the look of the Dreadnought in terms of its design. If you just want to go back to it real quick, like, it's just a giant cube. I mean, not exactly a cube, but
Rectangle? I know what you're
I
saying.
don't know what the technical term of it is. Rhombus? I don't know. Like, it's not exactly a square or a cube because one side's longer than the other. But this seems like it would be a very functional thing, and it actually extends to all of the other sort of support ships that you see around it. They're all very cube-like.
Yeah, they could all like fit into this bigger ship, and there's a lot of detail also in the design of the ship. I like it also. If we move forward here, I'm actually just gonna kind of fast forward through it. We see like they're talking about loot, so here's, you know, a loot chest. I'm assuming he's going to orbit to switch characters and then join up on his teammates and pop that chest twice. We'll see. We don't know. I found it weird that he popped out his ghost when you're about to get the loot.
Yes.
I don't know what that's about. There's nothing new in the UI, like no tracked bounties. Select bounties and quests in the progress menu to track their progress. So there's some sort of bounty implementation here, and that's interesting. And you can see this looks like a patrol area because, you know, you have the icons for patrols. Like, you got a target there, and then kill like however many enemies and collect their
That's interesting to me because one of the things I've always thought that needed to be improved was how this screen works with abilities that you use all the time. Like, I don't like having to go to my inventory to use ammo synths. Like, let me do it from this menu. And it looks like step one is, you know, let me do the bounties from there too, or at least see them. This is a good implementation of that.
We have bounties change display. Maybe you can cycle through a few options and then navigate right there from your ghost. You know, that's good. So here, this is interesting. They're showing like the hunter getting their new subclass, and this map is actually Pantheon, I believe.
Interesting. Yeah. And, so they mentioned briefly in the video documentary that it's like, in terms of the lore of the story, the Guardians and sort of, you know, the speaker realize that we're not able to defeat Oryx with the current power set that we have, and we have to go back and kind of discover powers that Guardians used to have. And that's what we're seeing here, is each class discovering their new subclass and the super ability that's associated with that.
Yeah, and to me, like, this map looks like Burning Shrine a little bit.
It does,
Not sure, it's a little different, but it could very well be Burning Shrine. And I really like that each character has their own cutscene, meaning you might have different storylines based on the class that you're playing, and that's really exciting for me because in Destiny, vanilla Destiny, you just kind of play through and it's the same no matter what you play as. This will give you a special experience depending on the class that you choose.
Which is how it should be. That's great. I love that.
Definitely. Just gonna fast forward.
So here we see like the actual weapons. We have this like sort of energy bow. The Warlock's got this force lightning type
Night
thing.
Stalker, Stormcaller, he's saying. And
Yeah.
notice he's on Mars, so I don't know if he gets his ability there. They haven't finished that yet. But they don't show him picking up an orb, so this could be when the Hunter actually gets his Stormcaller ability. Yeah, and then there's this Sunbreaker. They showcase the Titan ability a lot. And I actually want to talk about their abilities for a second, Sean, because we had Deej on our live show earlier. And
catch that video on IGN.com.
Yes, IGN.com. The Hunter, so we're looking at the Voidbow here, and they're showing all the abilities. But in addition to like shooting people and locking them down, he's also going to have another option where he can just create a wall. And that's going to be really interesting for multiplayer. You can just lock off portions of the map and take time to heal and then go against your enemies.
That's awesome.
You know, and it's also going to allow you to create choke points.
Yeah, they talked a little bit about in the video documentary that the Hunter didn't really have an ability to support the rest of his teammates, and this appears to be exactly that, right? You can tether enemies together, as you pointed out, create sort of a wall.
I just want to say I love Dave Samuel. He is so expressive in this
Oh,
video,
yeah.
and he's just like a lot of fun to watch.
We'll see it, you know, I mean, we'll see the Titans super later on, but I love what this gives you the ability. I love what this offers for PvP because it gives people the ability to chain their supers in ways that have never been done before. Like, imagine if you're a Hunter and a Titan, and you can chain these people together with the Hunter's super and then Fist of Havoc them as the Titan.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's just a great, that's a great way to, like, put stuff together. It's cool.
Yeah.
Here we're seeing, like, the Warlock's new super ability.
So, yeah,
Which,
so he's
what is-
like the
what is the
Emperor
actual-
from Star Wars.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I was about to
Stormcaller.
say. Is like
Yeah.
it's Stormcaller. That's the name of the super or the subclass.
The subclass.
Yeah, so I don't know how we're not gonna just call this Force Lightning, right? Because that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah, right. From Star Wars. Additionally, we were told that the Warlock is going to be able to summon a bolt of lightning from the sky. So like goosh, you know, like from the heavens, so to speak. And that's going to be really interesting.
Now, if you scroll back real quick just to that shot, it does look briefly like this is chaining to a couple of other things, not just the single big target like ogre type thing here. Do we think that that's part of it? Like it ricochets to other things?
Definitely. I don't think it insta-kills like in PvP, for example, but it takes like a second to actually kill somebody. It's not like instantaneous, like you got to let them cook for a little bit. But it's going to be quite devastating.
Yeah, and based on the numbers that we're seeing there, it looks like decreased damage to targets that aren't your main target.
Oh, yeah, of course. And then we got a few names here. Like, for example, that's a gremlin. We see a troll later on, and we'll call those out as we see them.
Sound effects here again from this guy. Love it.
He's so great.
And now you're just roaming the map.
Yeah, there's a gremlin.
It's cool that, you know, when
There's
you're
a
actually
Lurk,
using
one of
this
the new
super,
enemies.
you're kind of just floating around. You're not running, you know?
Yeah.
Sunbreakers.
Yeah.
Now
here's
this, as a Titan, I am so stoked
very
for.
excited. We joked on Fireteam chat that you're going to throw hammers.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then he does, and it actually works. You know, and that's really, really exciting.
Titans are becoming Thor.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
Titans can also create a wave of energy that travels along the ground, Bungie told us when we had them on the live show. So that's his like alternative for his super if you want to change your loadout for this class.
Right.
Sunbreakers are solar titans.
So the first thing we see him doing with this is actually like hurling the hammer.
Yeah. And shoulder
and
charge, you know, no matter what.
Yeah.
Is awesome.
Now, again, they mentioned that this is kind of geared at being more support or ranged.
Yeah.
You can use it the way you play your Titan, which is get up close and personal and really be like in the fray of it there.
Yeah. When I was playing PvP, I mostly threw the hammer. I hadn't tried out the shoulder charge yet. There's your big shank, Sean, by the way.
Yay, giant shank.
Yeah, you're going to be able to use your prison weapons for something, hopefully.
Yeah, there we go.
Continuing through the video, we're going to see at 5:05, we actually see Rippers, another new enemy that we haven't seen before. Just kind of getting the names as we go through the trailer. And now we get to look at multiplayer. This is Mayhem Clash, so your powers recharge incredibly fast. When I was watching on the show floor today, it looked like about 30 seconds. Now this map looks absolutely awesome, and if you see that portal, that's man cannons, like in Halo.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they will toss you from one side of the map to the other. Like right there, we kind of see it working. It pops the super.
So here they're talking about like
Yeah.
the design choices in creating a multiplayer mode that is more super focused. I think this is going to be madness. You had a chance to
It's
play
going to be a lot of fun. So I haven't played Mayhem yet, but because the line's so long at PlayStation's booth, I'm going to try and get in today or tomorrow. But yeah, so your super's recharged. Like it looked like about 30 seconds for a full supercharge. So it's just going to be crazy. Like you're going to have to watch.
And that's if you're not killing people in the meantime.
Yeah, that's if you're not killing people. So if you get a kill, it'll probably just pop.
Exactly.
You know. And then here we're looking at a map. It's like a swampy sort of area. Before we saw something that kind of looked like Mars, maybe.
And that does like it kind of looks like a Vex portal in the background, but it could be a man cannon. Like, is that what you're seeing back there as well?
Back there, yeah.
That looks like, you know, something Atheon would have right there next to him.
Yeah, true. It'll be interesting to see how they're implemented. Do they jump you to a different part of the map? And right here, like for a second, we see something happen where, so he pops his super, but this isn't a normal super. I think what happened was he got bound by one of the hunters.
Right.
So his super didn't go off the way he wanted it to. So he could be using it right now, but yeah,
he's certainly tethered to other people.
Yeah, it didn't go as planned.
But you can see like everyone's using supers all over the place here and getting mad kills. Like this is going to be a ton of fun. It may be really, really fast paced.
Yeah, and then
chaotic.
We got a great shot of some of the new armors here. We got, you know, Future War Cult and New Monarchy, a dead orbit with a big logo on the far left. And this is really exciting because they're talking about a capture the flag style objective mode.
Finally, yay.
So I actually played this mode, and what happens is this spark pops up in the middle of the map, and this is very similar to the tower, right? This map is kind of like a tower feel to it, and it's cool.
Right.
It's really cool to play in that location. Now, when you grab the spark, Sean, you actually have to hold square for, I don't know, like 5 seconds before you'll actually pick it up.
Oh, so it is not a quick thing, yeah.
Yeah, you're vulnerable. As we can see, we got a guy coming in on the right there. He's being shot at from the corner. There's a platform up top that people can shoot you and a platform below. And yeah, this mode was a ton of fun.
So when you get it, what I thought was really interesting about it is it doesn't actually cripple you in any way like picking up a flag normally does in capture the flag modes. Like you still have access to all your weapons. You're not you don't have decreased shields or decreased speed like like you've seen in other games.
Yeah.
That said, like the reason it is that way is because it seems like it's going to be pretty tough to deliver this thing, because once you grab the spark and have to run it over to your enemy's sort of like home base area, all they really have to do is stop you and defend it. Yeah. There's no other ulterior objective.
I just realized that's that pistol we saw before.
This is it right here.
Here's a little bit of a closer look. It's got 6 in the chamber, it looks like, unless he hadn't reloaded.
What do you think it says right there in the little little
NOS?
blue area? In this
no, I don't know.
NOS.
Yeah. And when you actually dunk it, you get about 2,000 points. He gets 2,275 here, so that's how you win the game. You score points, obviously.
They do mention that there's multiple ways to score the point. You can run backwards into it, and you'll do a flip.
To do that, all you do is run backwards. Like, you can walk backwards.
So it really is just about style.
Yeah.
But there's a reason to want to do it. You get extra points for doing it.
Yes, that is correct.
You then have to defend your point and make sure they don't bring the spark into your rift.
Lars is always great to listen to. He's just very passionate about multiplayer design and knows what he's doing. Obviously, he's been doing it for a while. And yeah, we got to look at some of the characters there. Oh, what happened there? That was weird. So we see that these characters are level 20, but if you look in the upper right there, it's a new light level of 49.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking the new cap is going to be 50, but they did clarify on Twitter that, okay, we're still working on finalizing what that will be.
when it
50 would be great. That would be a huge jump. And in our footage on the IGN Live show, we actually saw that the new base level was 30 for some people, and then their light level was increased. So maybe you're going to get 10 additional levels, like just standard levels, because before you can only do it with light.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting. Of course, all of this stuff is still being built and subject to change, so take some of that speculation with a grain of salt.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of design, like it, sometimes for testing mechanics and gameplay, obviously developers grant themselves extra bonuses and stuff just to make sure encounters work, so they don't have to struggle with the enemies while they're doing it. But 50 or 49 seems like a huge jump. That would be really interesting.
Yeah. I paused here to kind of show off one of the new locations that you'll be. This looks like a story mission. I don't think it's multiplayer.
But yeah, what planet do you think we're on here?
Oh, that's Cosmodrome. That's either Cosmodrome or Mars because of the sand.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the design of whatever that thing is, I'm guessing Cosmodrome. Oh, actually, yeah, we can tell it's Cosmodrome. If we rewind it here, you can see the mountains. Yeah, so that's definitely an Earth locale. And this is a moon, or maybe most likely the Dreadnought, because you got the ship flying around.
Yeah.
Destiny is a persistent world.
And it's just great to see just how much effort they put into these new areas. These are definitely new areas. These aren't old areas repurposed, and that's very exciting to players like you and I have put in a lot of time.
Absolutely.
It's taking a major.
So yeah, looks like they're repairing this thing, whatever it is on the Cosmodrome.
Mega Sentinel.
Mega Sentinel.
There's a new villain.
No, yeah, I'm just joking.
I
That's
know,
not
I
what
know,
it is.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, we don't know what it is. Death Star.
They also talk about new enemies, new public events, new exotics. All that's exciting.
New strikes.
Yeah, new strikes, of course. So there's a creepy-looking ogre. And it looks like this is some sort of objective-based game mode where you're going to have to kill a thing. And look at the design on the bottom there. They've changed the meter on the bottom. There's like a light signal
a little
there.
Light logo.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Icon.
And if we go to 644, we actually get to see one of the new weapons that I use. This is the Suros rocket launcher.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I believe it had 2 in the chamber when I played with it, but it could just be a different role for this guy because he has 1. It doesn't seem to do anything special. It was legendary when we used it. Like, it's not like Gjallarhorn, but it does give a big explosion when you use it.
That's what you want from a rocket launcher, right?
Of course, yeah. And yeah, so we have subtle things going on in the menu there. You got the grenade, you got your hammer, etc. going on. Then the next note I had was
one thing I noticed, actually, if you want to go back to that shot real quick, is every time he throws his hammer, you see his super decreasing just a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if that means that it's limited, like you can only throw it so many times before you run out of your super.
But you know what? It's not like draining.
No, yeah, it's like every time he throws his hammer, it drops like a
it,
notch. Yeah.
And then he just chills.
Yeah.
It's not slowly draining like all the other supers that we've seen.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I think that's how I think you have a limited use of that time, or a limited timed use of that thing.
Yeah. Here's one of the new Cabal characters that you'll be finding. He has a big rocket on his back, and it looks like he shields himself. And you're going to have to go in and get close, but then be careful that you don't get stomped at the same time.
Yeah.
Like he's going to jump on that guy.
Valis Tarn. Any relation to Valis to Ark, you think?
Yeah, right. Still got to see that family photo.
This is crazy because like he looks with that that winged mechanism that he's got on the back. It reminds me of like Optimus Prime in Transformers 3 when he gets like his little wings and starts flying around and stuff. It looks cool.
They definitely look ominous.
Yeah.
And if we jump over to 709, they talk about new puzzles, like new areas that will actually be kind of like an enemy in themselves because they can hurt you. And this is our look at the raid, actually. So, you're swinging on these giant pendulum things.
A lot of fun. As someone who played a lot of World of Warcraft, one of the more interesting things about the raids was just trying to get, your team to coordinate all together as one. And when you had in World of Warcraft up to 40 players in a raid, it got very difficult. I am very excited to see how the Taken King implements those sort of encounters. We love great boss battles and gameplay that way, obviously, because the guns feel great to shoot and stuff. But like, imagine having to jump across platforms like that. That would be like all of you at the same time. Like that sounds like a lot of fun to me.
This ogre with the spider legs on its back looks disgusting and terrifying.
Yeah, it reminds me of like something out of like Alien versus Predator. You know what I
We're
mean?
reading Reddit. We're reading NeoGAF.
They don't call out IGN, but I'm sure they're reading IGN too.
They've got to.
Yeah.
The only place to get Destiny content on the internet.
Yeah.
IGN.com.
Yeah. I had one more note. At 27, we saw a Constrictor enemy type, and then at 750, we see another Cabal from that encounter. I'm really excited about this content. It looks like they're adding a ton, and this is just a glimpse about what's going to be inside. In the other trailer, there was also like a new shotgun where you shoot it, then you kind of flip it Terminator style. And that was really exciting. And on the back of that Titan in the middle, that is a new sidearm pistol. And I actually saw it in the demo, and it was an Iron Banner sidearm. So that's going to be deadly in multiplayer.
Yeah, Vestian Dynasty.
This might be a different pistol. I can't make it out because it's too tiny. But
yeah, but the fact is that there are going to be more sort of weapon types in this, more sidearms at least that we know for sure.
Yeah,
Vestian Dynasty was a big hit with people for that, just because it's a different thing, and it looks like Taken King's going to bring a lot of that.
The Taken King is the next.
Well, thanks, Sean.
Thank you very much, Destin. Check out this ViDoc on Bungie or IGN.com. Thank you for listening to our rewind, Destin. I'm going to go get my hands on this.
All right, let's go.
Let's do it. Everything you need about Destiny is right here on IGN.com.